Good morning, kids. It's been a minute since I've done a video in the morning for you guys. My lifting and my cardio schedule has just gotten longer as I prepare for this beach trip that we got coming up. And so I just hadn't had any time. I've been rushing to get home and showered and cleaned up so I can get my day started. So I apologize. I still got all the love for y'all. But anyway, I wanted to speak some truth to provide a reminder to you guys, because I think this gets lost in translation. There's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of companies who want to get rich off of our desperation and our misinformation. They will try to quote science that is only about this much true, and we are misled, and therefore we can make some decisions that can affect our long-term health or our long-term success. I saw this most recently yesterday, and I see stuff out there, and I just got to put the bit in my mouth a lot of the time because it's frustrating, because this information is still out there being circulated to people, and it's done from a good place, people that are wanting to help, but it's inaccurate and it's wrong or misguided at best. We'll say that. So the number one thing is that people will say, if you want to lose weight, just cut your carbs out. Just cut your carbs out. And I see this every time, and I just sit there and I shake my head, because I have been there before. Trust. I have been there before, and I have done an Atkins diet. I have done, low carb, no carb, whatever. And I know that that's an effective strategy that some people follow. And so hear this for what it is, which is the science behind this. And so use that to make an educated decision. Whatever thing that you implement to make your life and your health better long term, as long as it's an educated decision and it's something that you can do long term, and it's something that you feel great doing, and it's not negatively harming your long term health, I am a big proponent of that. But most of the time, we do these things as a quick fix, as a shortcut, and what it's doing is it's setting us up for disaster long term. It's setting you up to make it harder for you to be able to sustain that long term. So understand that. Okay, let me preface this conversation with that. Y'all, carbohydrates are a major macronutrient group. There are 3 of them: fat, protein, and carbohydrate. And your body was designed by a creator that does not make mistakes, okay, to need all 3 of those. There's some science out there that says that when we eat carbs, they turn into sugar and da-da-da-da-da. That is like way simplifying a much more complex topic. Your body thrives off of glucose, okay? Every living thing in the world thrives off of glucose. Well, glucose in and of itself is the basic form of the cellular energy, and your body needs that. Your brain needs it, your organs need it, your blood, your muscles, everything needs this. So what do you think happens when your system that was created to run off of this, that is where it is getting its energy, what do you think happens when it does not have that? Sure, there is some evidence to suggest that it might perhaps promote fat burning in the short term, but long term, when you remove that variable from the equation, your body is going to have to work much harder to survive. This is separate from vanity. I'm talking about your gut health, bacterial stuff going on inside of your body, the way that your body is processing the things that it needs to live, for you to breathe, for your heart to pump, all of these things. When it doesn't have those 2 things, you're going to kind of do something a little bit different, and your body is going to be like, wait a minute, this is not how I was made, okay? And then later on down the line, when we decide that we can't possibly sustain a carbohydrate-free diet, that then we implement those carbohydrates again. Our body has not had that before, has not had that in some time. And so what we typically see is we see massive inflammation or massive weight gain. Carbohydrate carries water into a cell. And so a lot of times if we've ever been on a low or no carb diet, and then all of a sudden we have carbohydrates, we wake up the next morning and we might feel puffy or inflamed. That's because carbohydrate it attaches to water basically, and it carries to the cell, and that fluffs up, and it holds water. And so long term, I want you to just sit and think that through. Is that good? Is that good? I don't think so. Now, I think that there are times medically when you're under doctor supervision and your doctor may make that recommendation to you, or a nutritionist might make that recommendation to you to either get your carbohydrates from a different source. This is where our complex carbohydrate recommendation comes into play. That's your vegetables, your sweet potatoes, your brown rice, things like that. A nutritionist every time will tell you that those are a better source of carbohydrate, but I don't know that there's any nutritionists out there or registered dietitians that would tell you to cut carbohydrates out of your diet completely. I just don't think that's smart. And I think that what you're doing is you're setting yourself up for long-term disaster, because once you implement those carbohydrates back in, because trust me, you are eventually. We live in a world that is a very big part of our food system. And so you're going to be working extra hard to keep that stuff out of your diet if that's your strategy for long-term success. It's just, I just don't think that it is a smart strategy long-term. Now, short-term, you see a lot of bodybuilders and athletes that need to cut weight quickly. They will cut carbohydrates down and maybe gear their intake of carbohydrates more to lower carbohydrate sources, asparagus, spinach, things like that. They might not be necessarily eating a lot of fruit. That's a different conversation. But for the average individual, especially the average woman who is very heavily driven, their chemical makeup, their biomechanics, that it is geared to need more carbohydrates just simply because of our physiology. Does that make sense? So if you want to cut fat, I would just be real leery and real careful, try to cut out an entire macronutrient group just simply because it's not sustainable. If you have a lot of weight to lose, you need to take a real deep dive and a real close look and inspect your lifestyle habits and what are you doing that keeps messing you up. Is it the lunch spot that you can't stay away from, or the group that constantly wants you to go to lunch that, is it that? Is it eating out that is wrecking your diet? Because when you go out to eat, you find it hard to stick to a plan. Is it alcohol? Are you drinking a lot of alcohol and that you can stay really disciplined on your diet, but then all of a sudden the weekend comes and we have just one too many, and when we have one too many, it causes us to binge, or it causes us to eat foods that we know are not on our plan. That's another one. Is it that we have little kids at home and their snacks are readily available to us, and so we try, and then we find that we eat just one of the cookie, and that just kind of opens up Pandora's box, and then we can't stop. You have to look at your lifestyle choices and determine, are these things helping you or are they hindering you? Because we are either feeding or we're fighting disease, or we're either helping ourselves out or we're not helping ourselves out. And so when we make choices about things that we're going to change with our diet and they're very extreme, it's hard, albeit impossible, to rock on with that sustainably. The people that have long-term success with weight loss are the ones who looked at the habits in their life and they made changes to correct those habits or make a better habit out of it. So let's say they were, they cut out drinking. I see a lot of people doing that. They cut out smoking. They started going walking every day after work or a couple times a week, but they didn't decide to just cut an entire macronutrient group out of their diet. That's impossible to sustain. So when you're looking at this stuff, it is not complicated, y'all. It's not complicated. Your body runs off of calories. You have a set amount of calories that your body has. It's just like a bank account. You got a budget. And if you overspend, you're going to be in the red. Okay? Same thing with your diet. If you eat too many calories, you're going to be in the red. If you're eating too many calories and you're not burning those calories off, your body is going to be like, okay, I don't know what to do with this. Let's gain fat, because we got to have a place to put it. Think about it like hoarding. I'll say that. So you have so much space in your house, right? And let's say we go out and we get some new clothes. over time, if we have not taken any clothes out of our closet, we're going to have an excessive amount of clothes and they're not going to fit in the closet. We're going to have to find another place to put it. Those are your fat cells. You get it? Maybe that makes a better, paints a clearer picture. But when we eat too many calories, your body is going to have to find a place to put those calories, and the easiest place for it to put that is in our fat cells. And I don't know any other way to say this, but you don't get rid of fat. You don't ever get rid of fat cells. Once you have them, you have them, which is why it's so important to do things that you can sustain, because, if you can't sustain it, you're going to rock back into your old habits and you're going to be right back to where you were when you started. I know that when we get desperate and we just really want to see a change, that we will do a lot of things. And you know, if you're doing a lot of things right now that you're not going to be able to continue, I got news for you. You're going to be right back to where you were when you started, and you were so desperate to begin with. It is so, so, so important when you implement a change into your diet that you look closely at to what you're going to be doing, what choice you're going to be making, because if it's not something that you can continue, you can't sustain it, it's not a lifestyle change, you're going to be frustrated your entire life. Okay, so if that's you right now, that you're frustrated with your body, you want to make some changes, you have an excessive amount of weight to lose, or maybe just the last 10 pounds. If you're tired of gaining and losing and gaining and losing and gaining and losing the last 10 pounds, what are you doing that is causing you to do that? Because most of the time we know what that is. And so I'm speaking truth to you guys, as I always do. And sometimes we don't want to hear this. We know what we have to do to get the weight off, right? We have to eat healthy food. We got to eat the vegetables. We got to eat the lean proteins. We got to watch our calories, and we have to get some exercise, drink some water, keep our stress, get some sleep. You know, it's not sexy. It's not glamorous, but that is it. It's not complicated. That's it. You just have to do it. We complicate it when we put this stuff into practice and we think that we have to do all of the cardio or we have to eat only the salad. That's wrong. It's wrong. So calm down. Calm down and stop doing things out of desperation. Do things that are going to benefit your long-term health, that you're going to be able to do for the rest of your life, because this is a lifestyle. If you are 30s and 40s, you got 40 years left, maybe, average lifespan. That's a long time to be on the struggle bus. Okay? All right? I personally don't want to do that. So I like to do things that I enjoy, I get benefit from, and then I'm going to be able to do for the rest of my life. So keep that in mind. If you guys need any encouragement individually, feel free to reach out to me. I'm here for you. I love being able to help people out. That's the whole reason this channel's here. I got a sneeze coming on. Whew. Excuse me. I felt it. Thank you, Jesus. But reach out to me. I'm here for you. I will encourage you, because I know there's a lot of misinformation out there and it's hard, and I know how that feels. So I'm here for you. Your girl got you back. But remember all these things that I've just talked about, okay? Because it gets ridiculous out there, okay? All right. Y'all keep it classy. I hope you have a great day. Bye.